At this moment, Lai Ru Bing's company had fire crews on site to extinguish the flames after the explosion in the office, preventing it from spreading. A firefighter from his team stated, "Mrs. Lai, an employee from the R&D department, caused a spark from the charging cable. This is the cause of the recent explosion." Lai Ru Bing replied, "Captain CO, thank you for your hard work." A while later, Ru Bing, feeling frustrated, called for a meeting. Lai Ru Bing slammed the table and said loudly, "I don't believe this is just a simple accident. Who is it? Who wants to cause trouble for me? If there are any other traitors, come forward and confess. There will be leniency. If not, I will investigate and dig up the past of those responsible." The immense pressure from Ru Bing created an extremely tense atmosphere in the room. The other employees were drenched in sweat, trembling with fear. Even though they may not be the culprits, they understood their boss's temperament all too well. Switching scenes to City C, Wu Shen spoke, "Miss Dong, something has happened in Donghai. I need to go back to deal with it, so I came here to say goodbye." Dong Sin happily replied, "Okay, Mr. Wu, thank you for helping our family recover the debt. I haven't even had a chance to thank you yet." Wu Shen smiled and said, "We have been together for half a trip around the world and have gone through so much. We don't need to be too polite with each other. We will meet again in the future." Dong Sin shyly asked, "Then from now on, can I call Mr. Wu Brother Wu?" Wu Shen replied, "Sure, as long as Miss Dong feels comfortable, it doesn't matter what you call me." Seeing how considerate he was, Dong Sin was very excited. She responded, "If that's the case, from now on, I will call you Brother Wu. Hey, you don't need to call me Miss Dong anymore. Just call me Sin Sin." Wu Shen said, "All right, Sin Sin. Next time you go anywhere or visit the city, remember to pay attention to your safety when contacting your family. I'm not sure if the propaganda group will continue to keep an eye on the Dong family, so I will have Ska protect you." Ska no longer maintained the assassin's expression and cheerfully said, "Miss, don't worry, I will definitely keep you safe." Watching Wu Shen leave, Dong Sin felt a bit sad as she thought, "I really want to stay by his side, but unfortunately, I still have family matters to resolve, and so does he. I guess I'll have to meet Brother Wu next time." Returning to the Xutai fashion company, Ru Bing was feeling extremely frustrated and said, Have we spent all day playing around without finding a clue? Don't you think this result is ridiculous? What kind of business is this?" At that moment, Wu Shen happily opened the door and stepped in saying, "Dear, don't be angry or you'll end up with a lot of wrinkles." Seeing Wu Shen back from America, she was surprised and said, Wu Shen, you're back?" As the door opened completely, Wu Shen entered with a strange girl. Ru Bing then joked, "Wow, did you bring another one back with you today?" "Amazing, Mr. Wu. Great talent." At this moment, the employees sensed that with Ru Bing's icy tone, things were getting worse. They thought that Sister Lai's anger seemed to be getting harder to contain. Is Sister Lai about to pull out a gun? Seeing Ru Bing tense up, Wu Shen hurriedly said, "No, it's not what you think. This is my friend. Her name is Jiang Lin. She has helped me a lot, so I need to thank her. Please don't be so angry." Jiang Lin politely bowed and said, "Hello, Miss Lai." At that moment, Ru Bing pouted and turned her face away, ignoring the two of them. Wu Shen rushed over to flatter her, saying, "Come on, don't be mad anymore. Calm down." He took out a USB drive and plugged it into the laptop for Ru Bing to see something. Wu Shen asked, "Ru Bing, is the person in this video the head of the HR department of our company?" Ru Bing replied, "Yes, it is Feng Yan." Wu Shen said loudly, "Feng Yan must stay, while everyone else can leave." At that moment, seeing she was the only one left, Feng Yan looked pale and scared, her face drained of blood, and said, "Ms. Lai, Mr. Wu, I'm not a traitor." "How could I be a traitor?" Wu Shen spoke up, "Ms. Feng, the person in the video is an intern involved in the fire incident and is the daughter-in-law of your cousin's aunt, right? You hired her into the company, didn't you?" Feng Yan's face turned white as she replied, "I thought it was just a regular internship. After all, she just came back from studying abroad, so I wanted to. I never expected that." Wu Shen said, "Her family has another distant relative working as a cleaner in the Ding household. Ms. Feng, did you know about this?" Feng Yan, terrified, quickly responded, I really didn't know about this. I swear to heaven I wouldn't lie. Ms. Lai, please believe me." Ms. Lai said, "My dear, stop acting so arrogantly and dangerously. Just finish what you're saying." Wu Shen continued to release a video. In the conversation, they were eating and talking at the same time. One person spoke up, "My niece just graduated and returned to the country. She wants to join a big company to gain experience. My sister-in-law is pretending that her child can join the Ding family's investment company, but I can't bear to see her so arrogant." What about the Ding family? Isn't the precious young master of the Ding family just like the dog in front of Mrs. Lai? Another person added, I always hear that the Lai family is much better than the Ding family. How about my niece intern at your company? With that face of hers, wouldn't it be acceptable? Upon hearing this, Feng Yan's face turned even darker. In the video, one person said, Isn't this okay? It's just to suppress my sister-in-law's arrogance. Moreover, if my child goes to the Lai family instead of the Ding family, wouldn't that make the Lai family appreciate my child more? Feng Yan in the video responded, what you said does seem to make sense. Wu Shen interjected, Actually, Sister Feng is very loyal and devoted to the Lai family, but she doesn't really know this person. She's just a cheap whore with poor academic performance. What can she learn studying abroad in Africa? Ru Bing, sitting next to them, just remained silent. Feng Yan hurriedly bent down and said, I'm sorry, I truly apologize for causing this trouble for Ms. Lai. The company's matters were temporarily settled, and the two went home together to chat and catch up. The couple quickly embraced each other, sharing a passionate kiss, and his hands began to wander. Ru Bing sweetly said, My love, I miss you so much. You have to make it up to me today. Mr. Wu then picked up Ru Bing and laid her on the bed, his hands starting to undress her as he replied, I miss you even more. Wu Shen then began to get intimate with Ms. Lai. Half a day later, Ms. Lai, naked, said, my love, I really feel better with you by my side. After this incident, it seems the company needs to conduct a thorough personnel review. Wu Shen then held her hands tightly and said, Don't worry about work. We still have plenty of time. So Mr. Wu made it up to Ru Bing in the second round, with very strong sounds coming from Ru Bing. Lai Ru Bing, breathless, said, You naughty one, attacking me sneakily? The scene shifts to the next day. Wu Shen had just exited the garage when a car approached. A girl shouted, Hey, are you blind? Are you looking for trouble standing in the middle of the road? This girl was Ho Bai, the vice president of Lupelix Cosmetics. He turned his face and looked up in surprise. Next to her, another girl spoke more gently, I'm sorry. My sister can be a bit hot-tempered. Please make way. This person was Ho Lai, the president of Lupelix Cosmetics. Wu Shen reluctantly stepped aside to let the two women pass. He watched the car go and thought, one sister is gentle, while the other is very hot-headed. 20 minutes later, in an elegant hall, a receptionist approached. Hello, Mr. Wu. The girl Ho Bai had just recognized Wu Shen. She walked over and said, Oh, the guy from earlier looking for trouble. You're from Swan Tai Fashion, right? I've never seen or heard of Lai Ru Bing finding a man to participate in the exhibition. I'm afraid Swan Tai Fashion doesn't want to place an order today, do they? Aren't you going to say anything? Are you a celestial being come down to earth? I was defeated by Lai Ru Bing before. Today, I wanted to compete with her, but heaven hasn't given me the chance. Wu Shen happily replied, Since your company was suppressed by Sister Lai in the past, will it be any different today? Ho Bai excitedly responded, I heard that Lai Ru Bing has been focusing all of her energy on dating lately. How could she have time to care about work? This time, our Queen Cup makeup line is sure to be a huge success. Wu Shen said, A huge success, huh? Ho Bai arrogantly replied, Of course, that's the order quantity and sales figures for today. For someone like me, it's guaranteed to succeed. Wu Shen thought, It seems Ru Bing is still too friendly with these rivals. I hear right now is shatter her happy heart that wants to compete with her Swan Tai Fashion into pieces. Ho Bai gleefully said, If you lose, remember to host a party and have Lai Ru Bing pour you and food for me and my sister. Good luck. Wu Shen just watched and smiled with anticipation. The moment Ho Bai fell from the sky to the ground. 5 minutes later, a girl approached and said, Sister Xu, Sister Xiao Hoa, I'm sorry to have kept you both waiting. I got a bit stuck in traffic, so I just arrived. This girl is a famous fashion blogger with millions of fans, nicknamed Even Water Can Be Cooked into Porridge. A girl spoke up, It's better to arrive at the right time than to be early. At that moment, this Ho Bai asked, Is everyone in the team ready? The girl next to her continued, Everything is fine, Miss Hua. My lady, please come here. Everything is ready, we can start. The live stream session began immediately. As soon as the girl went live, there were already 100,000 views. The girl cheerfully said, Hello everyone. Today, I will be trying out the makeup products from Lupelix Cosmetics. Stay tuned to see the results. Ho Bai, standing beside her, thought to herself, the number of people in the live stream room has reached 100,000. After a few seconds of starting, I hope the man earlier isn't scared to death. It definitely refers to Wu Shen here. At this moment, the live stream continued while Ho Bai was touching up her golden egg. A group of girls walked over and said, Oh, there's a KOL online who seems to be live streaming her makeup trial for Lupelix Cosmetics. Let's go watch. After using the makeup products, the girl's appearance had significantly improved and her face radiated a completely different charm. The girl spoke up, "Hey, my fans in the community. After trying this out, there's not only a lot to say about Manhwa's products, but her makeup skills are also exceptional. If you have time, you should go to the location and experience the products for yourself." Oh, thank you, Dan Liu, for sending a plane. Comments started flooding in. "Oh my god, who is this gorgeous person? She's already pretty and is a good person too. Amazing. There is really a big difference compared to when she is not wearing makeup. It's not in vain, I will support you." A few girls outside were extremely surprised and said, "Whoa, it really works." Another person added, "I don't care, I'm in a hurry. Let me buy it first, I need to have it." Back with Wu Shen, while he was concentrating on his work, the crew was whispering, "Hey, if Miss Lai doesn't come to take charge, I feel like we're about to lose." The girl replied, "But Mr. Wu isn't an ordinary person either. Don't jump to conclusions too soon." At that moment, Ho Bai ran over provocatively. "Hello, person seeking death, looks like you're still not prepared, right? I see you've been sitting here for quite a while. Have you figured out how to explain things to Lai Ru Bing when you return?" Wu Shen actually had taken action. He responded, "Hey, Manhwa, some things need a bit of luck." Ho Bai walked away saying, "A guy who does nothing but blame bad luck for his failures. You changed my perspective on you. You're just an ordinary person among ordinary people." Wu Shen just laughed and replied, "Indeed, it's a pig pretending to be a tiger." He then took out his phone and called his subordinate. "Peng Wai, check what I've sent you. Create a hotspot and blow it up." Peng Wai responded, "Just a small task, Brother Wu. Give me some time." About an hour. An hour later, Hu Lei hurriedly went to call. "Hey, Bai Bilai, wake up and check this out." Hu Bai was sleeping and replied a bit annoyed. "Ha, can't you check it yourself? I haven't been able to sleep all morning. I'm so tired." At this moment, on Hot Search, the latest and most exciting event was Hot Search Top 1, a colorful lifestyle for the national holiday fashion season. Let's get out of the land of capitalism. Top 2, you can earn $500 from a $9 product just like finding gold. If 5 people buy an eyebrow pencil, at least 3 of them will make a profit. It is said that the probability is as high as 76%. Top 3, I want to spread the word that everyone will benefit when there's a $1 million prize waiting for you when you shop. All 3 hot searches were related to Ru Bing's company. Ho Bai frowned and wondered, is Lai Ru Bing up to something else? But she soon realized in shock, wait, this style doesn't seem like Lai Ru Bing's way of doing things. Something this difficult. Could it be that man has a scheme? She hurriedly ran to the main hall where all the sisters were gathered, focusing on a corner. Wu Shen's team was working hard, guiding everyone to buy products in this way. First, click on the search corner, then click on the app at the end of the page. Then you search to find swan tie fashion. What surprised Ho Bai was that she spoke up. "My lady, how can you?" The eagerly excited girl said, "Sister Ho Bai, look, I never thought there would be a prize of up to $1 million. But with just $9, you still have the chance to win a luxury 7-day trip to the Maldives for 2 people with a 76% chance. You can try it with me, who knows, maybe you'll get lucky." Ho Bai replied, "I won't participate, my lady. This is truly too fake. Do you really believe in it?" At that moment, 2 prize winners exclaimed loudly, "Wow, this is great. I won $500. The blonde girl said, "Oh my god, I won a luxury 7-day trip for 2 people to the Maldives worth $42,000. I only had to spend money to buy an anti-aging and skin brightening set." Even some young men hurried over to say, beautiful lady, guide me too. Can I ask, the more expensive the items I buy, the higher my chance of winning the jackpot, right?" Ho Bai, pushed by the crowd, thought, where did that guy go? He must be around here. But seeing Wu Shen, she felt a bit dissatisfied. Is he laughing at me? Is he really laughing at me? Ho Bai irritatedly approached to question him. "How much money have you spent? Can this be considered a glorious victory?" Wu Shen replied, "These costs are nothing compared to the final revenue." Ho Bai said, "Ha, you seem a bit too confident." Wu Shen continued, "Of course, if you lose, you must definitely throw a feast, pour wine, and prepare a lavish meal for me and Ru Bing." What a tease. After poking fun at her, he left, saying, "I will contact you after calculating the sales in the evening." Ho Bai could only feel infuriated, her face turning red, but she couldn't do anything. She broke a sweat as the foam screen displayed the end-of-day figures. The online sales and orders from the big boss, Lady Lai, totaled 90 million. This was our best result in several years. Having her golden egg lady broadcast always proved effective, but I don't know how far that guy can go. Just then, Wu Shen texted, The prize is $57 million, and Tinei's revenue is $230 million. Ho Bai was shocked, not because of Wu Shen's sales, but because how did he know her mobile number? Ho Bai turned beet red and wondered, does this guy have ulterior motives towards me? He surely doesn't just want me to pour wine and serve food. That's right, he mentioned serving food as well. Could he be intending to make me his meal? The thought crossed her mind that he might pressure her into being his dinner. He wants me to serve him to the point of exhaustion. After teasing him so much, he wouldn't just take his anger out on me. He might also vent it on my sister. Ho Bai quickly grabbed her sister's hand and said, Sister, I made a bet with him. Whoever loses will. Anyway, both of us are about to be in trouble. Ho Bai responded in confusion. Huh? What are you thinking? If there's a bet, you have to be prepared to lose. You really need to face some defeats so you can learn your lesson next time. Ho Bai kept pleading. Come on, sister. No, please don't go. So Ho Bai dragged Ho Bai away. Meanwhile, in another location, a young man was banging on the table in anger. This was Ho Bai's fervent pursuer, Lin Tianyu. Hearing that his crush had lost, he shouted, Damn, who dares to bully my goddess Bai? Come on, everyone follow me. 4 hours later, in a dark alley, two mysterious figures were conversing. The feng shui has been arranged. Let's wait and see how their family will lose wealth and what disaster awaits them tomorrow. The other person said, Ha ha ha, once he ruins their family's luck, Master Lin will get results twice as good for half the effort. Just as they were discussing their unscrupulous plans, Wu Shen suddenly spoke up. What's so funny? Who do you two want to defeat? The two men were startled and questioned. What? Who are you? Wu Shen, looking tired, replied, Today I don't have the energy. If you want to tease these fools, then go somewhere else. Lin Tianyu shouted, Someone quickly throw this guy out for me. The subordinate heard the command and charged like a tiger, intending to take down Wu. But Wu Shen delivered a knee to his face, sending him flying 10 meters away. Seeing he'd encountered a tough opponent, Lin Tianyu shouted, Master, use your ancestors' lone 9-sword skill or whatever and chop him into 100 pieces. The man with the surname Ju turned pale and thought, Shit, does this idiot really believe it? I was just talking nonsense. How could I actually cut someone? Wu Shen, with a deadly gaze, thought, The surname Ju, ancestor of lone 9 swords. Could it be the Lingnan butcher clan, the one whose leader was harmed by those propagandists that Xiao Dong is about to contact? Wu Shen then placed his hand on him, causing him to tremble in fear. Sounds interesting, show me a little performance. The man with the surname Ju nervously replied, It's a small matter, no need to make a big deal out of it. It's not good to make someone lose their life. Wu Shen continued, Oh, I must say that makes sense. The man with the surname Ju quietly said, Young master, this person has too much of a violent tendency. How about we retreat first and then think about a long-term plan? Lin Tianyu said, Ha, then let's spare him this time. We should hurry and go. Wu Shen could only smile at these fools. With talent like that, not becoming an internet mafia is really a waste. Changing scenes, Lin Tianyu spoke up. Bai hasn't had breakfast yet, right? I knew it here. Eat this. I've taken the trouble to buy this for you since early morning. He immediately took out the cake and drinks, saying, Hey, don't be angry anymore. Eat your breakfast quickly. Don't let your stomach go hungry. Ho Bai replied, What the hell should I eat? You helped me vent my anger, and then I got beaten and had to run away holding my head. It's really funny. Do you think I'm not humiliated enough? Lin Tianyu responded, Bye. It's not like that. Just listen to my explanation. Ho Bai retorted, Why are you calling me Bye? It seems I'm not even related to you. Just take your stuff and disappear. At this moment, after being chased away, Lin Tianyu had to leave in frustration. Hurry up and drive home. The driver spoke up. Young master, if he's strong in martial arts, then we should compete with intelligence, right? Lin Tianyu asked, What do you mean by that? He then proposed a plan. Young master, isn't the president of the Provincial Business Association you're on? Let's use some connections to crush him. He said happily, You want the business association to trouble his wife's company. Fine, let's do it. You might win a raise, but these two fools have no idea how big Wu's brain really is. Transitioning to another scene, an aunt spoke up. Ruping, a few days ago during your activity at the fashion show, the provincial leaders praised the marketing strategy for being very well organized. Ruping replied, Preparation was a bit rushed. My boyfriend just did it temporarily. She said, If we had prepared better, it would definitely have been even better. At Ruping, the leader implied that they wanted you to share successful experiences to support fellow businesses in the industry, both to enhance confidence in the industry and contribute to economic growth. Ruping responded, I understand. The industry can only improve if we develop. Returning to the company, she immediately relayed the task from the art association to Wu Shen. He said, "The leaders have valued it this much. We must strive to complete the task." Noticing how he kept getting close to her, she blushed and said, "Darling, what brilliant plan are you thinking of again?" He replied sweetly, "Just focus on your work. I'll take care of everything." 3 hours later, Wu Shen had gone straight to the old man from the Jew family's house. The old man was startled and asked, "What? You're the one from the other day. What do you want now?" Wu Shen spoke up. "The Lingnan butcher family is famous for the lone 9 swords and the technique of finding dragon veins. These are all the secrets of big-time businessmen. Even though the most talented young generation, Ju Peng Cheng, has been harmed, and the family has been affected, it's not to the extent that they have to go out and work as a feng shui master to make a living right." He replied, "What do you know about our family?" "Generally speaking, I just want to make money now." Wu Shen cheerfully said, "If you want to make money, collaborate with me." The elder continued, "Doing business in society requires integrity. If young Master Lin is just trying to make a living and then collaborates with his rivals, that's not quite right." Wu Shen said, "What enmity do I have with him? How can we call each other rivals? Collaborating with me is simple. You teach a class on energy activation for $20 million per session. I guarantee you will get both fame and benefit. What do you think?" The elder broke into a sweat and asked, "Is it really that good? What are you actually planning?" Wu Shen patted him on the shoulder and said, "I just want to exchange some information with you. If you do this well, Lin Tian Yu will value you even more. You can earn more from him." He said, "Then you have to arrange it so that others see me being introduced by the other leaders to teach this class." 1 day later, he continued to stand in front of the class teaching. "Legend has it that since ancient times there has been a magical kind of sorcery, not merely for beautifying one's appearance, but also for enhancing the senses. Gold, wood, water, fire, earth, and the colors red, orange, yellow, green, blue, purple correspond to the 5 elements in accordance with heavenly principles. Using cosmetics to supplement deficiencies, balance energy, and help the body reach its most optimal state, anyone can rejuvenate, and if maintained properly, can be reborn as a star." Hearing this, the audience below burst into continuous applause. At the same time, Wu Shen spoke up, "My love, this is the plan." After watching, Ru Bing said, "Contact these stars and film a series of commercials for this cosmetics line. This product is not exclusive. It comes from many affiliated companies." The secretary replied, "Understood, boss lady Lai. I will get to work right away." Wu Shen added, "This is just the first round. Next, we will also have Tao Man Ying, Zhao Yi, and Zhuang Xiao Dai promoting this cosmetics line, filming a series of commercials. The engagement of these big stars must also be directed toward us." A week later, Ho Bai was at home applying a face mask, scrolling through the internet when she was astonished. "It's unbelievable. The 5 energies cosmetics of the Nguyen dynasty have gone viral online, and within 2 days, the sales have exceeded $50 billion. At that moment, Hu Lei delivered the important news. When did the Ubelix cosmetic label become part of the 5 energies of the Nguyen dynasty? It's still worth $4 billion. Upon hearing this, Ho Bai was so astonished that she could only let out a loud "ha." She thought to herself, that person is at it again. What does he really want? At the same time, Lin Tian Yu was proudly saying, "Master Ju, are you really going to teach the advanced class of the Art Association about the 5 energies of the Nguyen dynasty? Clearly, you have the skills, so why did you fight him off that night?" Yet, while feeling so proud, he had to humbly beg, "Please tell me, I know you have generous magic power. Help me. If this continues, Bai Bi won't look at me anymore." He thought, it seems Mr. Wu is right after all. At that moment, Ho Bai went to find Wu Shen to confront him. "What tricks are you playing? You shamelessly gifted my husband $4 billion behind my back. What do you want?" Wu Shen replied, "Miss Hoa, I want nothing at all. The provincial leaders just tasked us with helping our brother enterprises in the industry to develop together. It's nothing serious. Just return the result, no explanation needed." Ho Bai said, "Ha! Who is your brother's business rival?" She pointed and shouted, "Xuantai Fashion is the competitor. My sister and I are trying to defeat them. I won't give up easily." Wu Shen said, "Since the first time we met, you have always been needlessly aggressive towards me. You even want to compete." Wu Shen cunningly asked, "Could it be that you fell in love with me at first sight?" Ho Bai felt embarrassed by the remark and said, "What? What nonsense are you talking about?" Wu Shen moved closer and asked, "So why are you looking for me at this late hour?" Ho Bai was put on the spot by the handsome guy. Her face turned beet red, and she stumbled over her words. Ho Bai suddenly felt dizzy and fainted. Wu Shen caught her with his hand and thought, somewhat confused, "I didn't expect her to faint. She was clearly very strong just now." so Wu Shen carried her into the house to rest. About half an hour later, Ho Bai unexpectedly woke up in bed. She thought, wait, did I just faint? I must be really dying. But then she quickly turned the blankets over to check if there was any part of her body that had been touched, wondering why she was lying in bed. Indeed, her clothes were still intact, but when she looked down, she noticed that her socks and shoes had been removed. She thought about that scenario. He took off my socks. Does he really want to get to me quickly? No, I need to get out of here fast. Ho Bai wanted to escape quickly, but as she was focused on the ground, she bumped into Wu Shen. He had just come out of the shower smelling fresh and was only wrapped in a towel. He said, "Oh, you're awake." Ho Bai, captivated by his looks, couldn't help but throw all her modesty aside and stared at him from head to toe. She thought, he has a solid body like a sculpted statue. Is this the handsome guy who stepped out of a novel? Wu Shen teased, "Do you like looking at my body that much? Why don't you come inside and change positions so you can admire it slowly?" Hearing this, Ho Bai's face turned bright red and she ran away screaming. Wu Shen smiled slightly. This girl really is something. Looking at his phone messages, he knew the important task at hand was to obtain information from the Jew family. A message from the old man of the Jew family read, "Tomorrow at 10 a.m. at the coffee shop in the north part of the city." The next morning, Wu Shen said, "It's like we're spies meeting up, isn't it?" He replied, "What do you want to ask? I don't want young Master Lin to know that we have been in contact." He handed the old man the menu and said, "Order a drink and then we can talk slowly. Is everyone from the Jew family like you? I haven't heard any rumors related to that." He signaled, "Okay, I'm not used to drinking coffee. The story of the Jew family must start from the day that man came to see Peng Cheng." He recounted, "That day, Peng Cheng brought a man over. The clan leader thought, as usual, that it was a wealthy individual seeking advice on feng shui. But in reality, that person was there to discuss a business collaboration. He said that they would first work abroad, then establish a trading association, and later return to dominate the domestic market and seize emerging markets. At that time, I didn't pay much attention to his arrogant words. I only knew that the clan leader disagreed and Peng Cheng also smiled to decline him. A week and a half later, Peng Cheng was murdered by a missionary, and with his blood, he wrote a curse against our entire family. The clan leader said that man was afraid we would take revenge, so he wanted to confine us forever in the village. The curse words were, anyone bearing a Jew surname who dares to leave the village and reveal secrets will die in a state of incompleteness. For the sake of the lives of all clan members, the clan leader demanded that everyone avoid contact with outsiders and remain in the village, living off farming for the rest of their lives. But having grown accustomed to the freedom out there, I suffered in staying in the countryside to farm. Therefore, I severed ties with the clan, swore never to use the ancestral techniques, abandoned the Jew surname, changed it to Du, and went out to make a living. I don't know if anyone else like me has left the village." Wu Shen asked, "Did Peng Cheng meet anyone before he died?" He replied, "I'm not quite sure about that." Wu Shen said, "All right, you can go back for now. We will contact each other by phone later." Wu Shen watched the old man Do leave, thinking, the one who leaves the village and reveals secrets is dangerous. So what about the one who enters the village? In 1,000 years of reincarnation, there has never been a case where a missionary appeared and captured 2 people for himself. So now everything is becoming more complicated. Dong Xin wants to find a Jew family. I need to investigate a little. Suddenly, he received a call from an unknown number. "Hello, may I ask who this is?" The voice on the other end said, "Sorry to bother you, Mr. Wu. I am Ho Bai from Mubalik's company. Do you have time? I have something I would like to discuss with you." Wu Shen replied, "All right, the location is up to you." Half an hour later, Wu Shen arrived at the meeting spot with Ho Bai. She slowly approached and said, "Mr. Wu, you're here. Although it is really sudden, I hope you can understand." Wu Shen interrupted, saying, "Don't be formal. Miss Hoa, please speak plainly." Ho Bai then presented a black card and said, "This is the $4 billion that our eye cream product from the 5 energies of the Nguyen dynasty has earned. This money needs to be returned to you. Thank you very much for helping us with the event. If there is a next time, please inform us in advance so that we can cooperate fully." Wu Shen saw the girl Ho Bai looking somewhat serious, and he chuckled as he replied, "Don't misunderstand, it's just a task from the provincial leadership." Ho Bai continued, "Even if it's just a task, you could choose other companies. We, Moodalix, have worked very hard to surpass Thuan Tai and achieve today's success. Receiving this money truly puts me in a difficult position. There's one more thing. Yesterday, Ho Bai returned home in an unusual state. But I know that she met you last night. She likes competition more than I do. If there was anything offensive to Mr. Wu, I apologize on her behalf. I hope you don't take it to heart." Wu Shen thought, She is not only a good sister, but also a strong and determined businesswoman. Indeed, not bad at all. For Mr. Wu to receive such words, could it be that in the future? At that moment, a white car sped towards them from a distance. Ho Bai saw the car rushing toward Wu Shen. Without regard for her own life, she ran to push him away. Wu Shen barely managed to say, "Miss Ho, you." A loud crash followed, and Ho Bai's handbag, along with drops of blood, created a disturbing scene. Wu Shen looked at the sight before him as Ho Bai lay gasping on the ground after being hit by the car. He rushed over to support her, calling out, "Miss Ho, please wake up." Ho Bai was still trying to hand him the black card. She took her last breath and said, "Mr. Wu, this money, I have returned it to you. My sister doesn't know about this. Please forgive her." After saying that, it was also the moment Ho Bai closed her eyes forever. Wu Shen was now filled with deep sorrow for Ho Bai. "This foolish girl, I didn't need you to save me." Wu Shen's gaze was filled with burning hatred as he looked at the car. "Who is that driver? Dan. Damn, I will not easily forgive you." He angrily commanded, "Time system, reboot." Time went back to before the accident began. As Ho Bai said, "Accepting this money makes me really uncomfortable." Wu Shen quickly approached, cradling her head with one hand and holding her tightly at her waist with the other. In her surprise, she asked in confusion, "Mr. Wu, what are you doing?" Wu Shen then intervened in time, pulling her away from the accident. Ho Bai was now surprised to realize that Mr. Wu had suddenly embraced her. Did he foresee the danger? Can he predict the future? Wu Shen's face was so angry he was about to lose control as he ran towards the car. He used his strength to wrench the door open and shouted, "Son of a bitch, I need to see who you are." He immediately grabbed the driver, who was covered in wounds. Ho Bai was horrified to realize that it was a subordinate of Boss Wang from the Rum Tong group. "Is it you, Bao?" Without needing more explanation, it was probably clear that it was an intentional accident. Wu Shen thought, "Is this someone she knows?" He rushed over and hugged Ho Bai tightly, saying, "Miss Hua, it's great that you are okay." Ho Bai was confused and thought, "What does Mr. Wu mean? I don't understand anything. What does 'it's great that you are okay' mean?" Wu Shen looked at her with affectionate eyes, holding her hands tightly. Just now, she had risked her life to save him. Wu Shen thought, "I've reincarnated for 1,000 years and have never owed anyone. Yet today I owe Miss Ho my life." He spoke up, "What does this have to do with Boss Wang of the Rum Tong group? Miss Ho, please make it clear to me. Perhaps I can help you." Ho Bai replied, "But the debt issue with Boss Wang is a personal matter. I see that Ho Bai is still so gentle." He pointed and said, "Look at this car. We almost met our end. Miss Hua, this is no longer just your problem." He firmly said, "You saved me, and I absolutely will not let you fall into danger again." Ho Bai replied incomprehensibly, "Ah, am I the one who saved you? Clearly you saved me. Mr. Wu, did you bump your head? I sincerely apologize, Mr. Wu, if you are in trouble. I owe Xuan Tai, and I won't be able to pay it back." Ho Bai tightly held his hand and said, "Let's go. First we need to get to the hospital. Then we will look for him." Wu Shen pulled her to run and said, "I'm fine. We don't need to go to the hospital. Let's go straight to the Donghai branch of Rum Tong." At that moment, in the Rum Tong group, Ho Bai angrily confronted Boss Wang. "According to this year's contract, I have paid both the principal and the interest in full. The remaining amount can also be paid back by next year at the latest. Mr. Bao even came to threaten and intimidate me, almost causing a fatal incident. Isn't that excessive?" Fat Wang handed over the debt paper and said, "Our contract isn't signed that way. Take a closer look. When you are able to repay the entire debt, you must immediately pay both the principal and the interest. You cannot delay, otherwise it will be considered overdue, and you will have to repay the debt with your body." Ho Bai slammed the table and said, "Our company can verify the revenue. Boss Wang can see that we have enough ability to pay off the entire debt and interest." He smugly replied, "Boss Lady Hola is joking. The products in the 5 key transmitted element series are selling well. Your company topped the hot search with a revenue of $4 billion. It's not like I'm writing that you are blatantly not repaying your debts." Of course, Mr. Bao could not stand it anymore. "You said we did not voluntarily participate in that event. That $4 billion revenue has to be paid to others." The old man Wang, fat and unable to contain his excitement, began to make advances. His hands were preparing to unbutton Ho Bai's shirt. Meanwhile, he pouted and said, "Oh, to be honest, the debt between us, if you don't want to repay it, that's fine. According to the contract, after being with me for 2 months, everything will be settled." Wu Shen rushed over, punching the fat pig away for daring to touch his benefactor. Wang shouted boldly, "Damn, who are you to touch me? Do I want to die? Someone come!" Wu Shen fired a shot and said, "Whoever wants to die, step up." Next time, I won't shoot into the air anymore. Wang was frightened and thought, why is this happening? He's drawing his gun right now? Ho Bai called out, Mr. Wu. Wu Shen, angry, pointed his gun at Wang's face and said, this is just the Donghai branch of Rumtong. A guy from elsewhere dares to assassinate someone in the middle of Donghai Street. It seems like Lai Ru Qin has been too lenient with you dogs in the past. Boss Wang thought, who would dare to call Lai young master like that? Just now, I heard Ho Bai call him Mr. Wu. Could he be the famous Mr. Wu in Donghai? I've heard that young master Lai has gone abroad and Mr. Wu travels all over the country. Now, Donghai is practically without anyone in charge, so they dare act recklessly. Wu Shen held the paper and said, this kind of contract for debt repayment with one's body is not legally valid. Moreover, you just harassed Miss Hoa demanding $3 billion in compensation. Isn't that excessive? Calculating her debt, how much do you owe her now? Or can you get away without paying? I'll give you a candy as a gift. How about that? He was sweating in fear. I really didn't know. I didn't know Miss Hoa was Mr. Wu's person. I was wrong. Miss Hoa doesn't owe anything anymore. For the compensation for offending Miss Hoa, please give me a day to prepare. Tomorrow, I will transfer the full amount to Mr. Wu's account. After saying that, he obediently tore the debt paper. Ho Bai blushed and thought, how did I become Mr. Wu's person? Wu Shen tightened his grip on Ho Bai's hand and spoke. Don't say that, as if I am in the mafia with Lai Ru Qin. Here's the deal. You come here, kneel down, and bow 3 times to her, and this matter will be considered resolved. In Donghai, as long as it's legal business, you can do whatever you want. Ho Bai thought, Mr. Wu, please don't just say that, explain it. Boss Wang then complied, kneeling down to apologize. Ho Bai felt incredibly embarrassed and sighed, thinking, I guess I won't be able to explain this later. Stepping out into the hallway, Ho Bai spoke. I intended to talk myself, but it turns out that Boss Wang relied on Mr. Wu. My feelings are a bit complex. He said, people like that don't just understand by reasoning. Ho Bai extended her hand and said, perhaps Mr. Wu's way is the right one. Anyway, it's nice to meet you, Mr. Wu. Wu Shen replied, we're quite similar. Ho Bai added, all right, Bai had a bet with you before. If she loses, she'll pour wine and serve dishes for you. Although those were just words from a child, if Mr. Wu doesn't mind, could I make some home-cooked dishes to sincerely thank you? He responded, that's fine, Miss Hua. Half an hour later, Ho Bai was standing in front of the mirror choosing an outfit. His girlfriend must dress like this. That means he must like this style, right? She then imagined the scenario of Wu Shen being romantic from behind. My dear, you really do understand me wearing this. Wu Shen in her imagination had understood him already. So what do I need now? You must understand. Ho Bai slowly knelt down and began working. Just when she was enjoying herself alone, Ho Bai and Wu Shen happened to come back from shopping and caught this scene. Ho Bai asked, Bai, what are you doing? Seeing the two, Ho Bai quickly covered her body and shyly replied, sister, why did you bring him back here? Ho Bai said, Mr. Wu has helped us a lot. He is our honored guest. You entertain Mr. Wu while I go cook. Ho Bai responded, okay, I'll go change. Wu Shen looked at the girl and didn't know what to say. After a while, Wu Shen asked, Xiao Hua, tell me, why did you and your sister borrow money from Rumtong and sign such a contract? Ho Bai replied, don't give people nicknames without permission. My sister and I just want to surpass Lai Ru Bing. Ever since we were young, she liked making cosmetics while I loved makeup. As a result, after more than 10 years of making cosmetics, it has become our greatest passion. Actually, at first we only considered it a hobby, but after graduating from college, she took on several jobs, some where she was harassed and others where she was forced by her bosses to meet with scoundrels. After a few years, unable to bear it any longer, Ho Bai said with a sullen and indignant expression, I told her to quit her job and join me in starting a business, but you can imagine how difficult it is to turn a passion into a career. The most disgusting thing was that fat man who came to the company every 6 months to laugh at her. He said, what's the point of working so hard? As long as you serve him well in bed, you'll have everything. He said he would wait for the day our company goes bankrupt, and she would willingly go to bed with him. Upon hearing this, Wu Shen's expression also could not handle it. Ho Bai continued, I told that fat guy that he should never dream, because our Ubelix will become the top cosmetic company, better than Lai Ru Bing's Swan Tai fashion. We will definitely not be bullied. Wu Shen spoke up, surpassing Swan Tai fashion is temporarily impossible, but if you avoid Ru Bing's race and make this product your flagship in the short term, becoming a major cosmetic company will not be difficult. Ho Bai took the paper Wu Shen handed her, surprised, asked, surpassing nutrition, better than cosmetics? Beauty soup? He replied, I know a little about nutrition and traditional medicine. Beauty soup, the more you drink, the younger you become, is an absolute demand of women, she replied. But I see that the ingredients are all ordinary herbal materials. Can it really be that miraculous? Isn't that exaggerated advertising? He answered, there is one essential ingredient, golden silkworm cocoon. The quality and ratio of it are the core secrets of the product. He thought, of course, obtaining a high-quality supply of golden silkworm cocoons is not easy. A trip to Lingnan is necessary, and coincidentally, the Jew family is also in H City, Lingnan, so it might be convenient to gather more information. About an hour later, Ho Bai spoke up. Bai quickly called Mr. Wu out for dinner. On the table were delicious dishes that Ho Bai had lovingly prepared. Wu Shen remarked, Miss Ho is truly skilled in cooking. Thank you for hosting. Ho Bai added, Sister, Wu Shen just suggested a new product idea to me, really creative. I think it's fantastic. Wu Shen continued, among the materials used to create this product, there is one that is very rare and hard to find, Miss Hua. We need to go to Lingnan to discuss it with the other party. Seeing this, Hua Lei hesitated and replied, Oh, okay. After finishing the meal about an hour later, Wu Shen returned with Ru Bing. He said, Honey, I did something, but I hope you won't be angry, okay? While still drying her hair, hearing this somewhat remorseful tone from the man, Lai Ru Bing said in a huffy voice, Did you go out and make some woman pregnant again? Wu Shen quickly hugged Ru Bing tightly and replied, What are you thinking? I gave Obelix a plan. If everything goes well, they will be able to expand their operations very soon. Ru Bing, upon hearing this, felt as if a heavy burden had been lifted from her heart. She spoke up. If things are not as I think they are, my love, there's no need to report such matters. I would be very happy to have a capable competitor chasing after me, pursuing Swan Tai fashion from behind, even if I surpass them. After all, if only Swan Tai fashion is at the top of this cosmetics fashion industry, it would indeed feel a bit lonely and cold. Wu Shen began to kiss Ru Bing affectionately. He said, My love, I really like you like this, so let me take care of you for a few rounds tonight. Then strange noises erupted along with Ru Bing's scolding of you scoundrel. The next day, Wu Shen and Ho Lai arrived in Lingnan, City H. A secretary rushed over to say, Mr. Wu, I am the secretary of the Golden Silk Reeling Cooperative in Lingnan, City H. For some reason, I could not contact the chairman, so I had to come here quickly to pick you up. I'm afraid the matters Mr. Wu wants to discuss today cannot be discussed. Wu Shen asked, confused, What happened? Last night, I was in touch with the chairman of the Miao Cooperative. The secretary replied, looking a bit flustered. Like me, others have been trying to reach him since then. It seems Mr. Wu should return to Don Hai. We will get in touch with him when we find the boss. Of course, our agency will cover Mr. Wu's airfare. Seeing her about to take out her QR code payment device, Wu Shen quickly advised against it. There's no need to be so straightforward. In my impression, Chairman Miao is a principled person, always punctual and reliable. Since you're already here, please take us to your cooperative. After half an hour of travel, they finally arrived. A woman hurriedly said, Mr. Miao arrived home yesterday. There was a car to pick him up, but we haven't heard anything since then. It's been less than 24 hours, and even though we've reported it to the police, they still haven't found him. This is driving me really crazy. This woman was none other than Mrs. Miao. Wu Shen quickly reassured Mrs. Miao not to worry. As long as Mr. Miao had contact with someone else, there will definitely be some clues left behind. I have a few connections. Let me see what I can do. Switching scenes to Huang, after getting the information she quickly searched. Wu Shen, I found an abandoned factory on the outskirts of City H. I'm sending you the location now. Returning to Wu Shen, he said, Miss Hua, stay here with this sister. Stay here for one night, and I will take Chairman Miao back. He placed a hand on her shoulder and added, Please wait for me. It won't take too long. Seeing this, Hu Lai blushed and replied, Okay then, Mr. Wu, please be careful. The scene shifts to an abandoned factory. Sounds of punches and baseball bat swings echoed evenly. From a distance, an old man casually lighting a cigarette spoke up. To those named Miao, don't be shameless and unreasonable. Today, even if you don't want to sell, you must sell the cooperative. Mr. Miao, who had been kidnapped, was beaten black and blue and hurriedly replied, Boss, this price is truly unacceptable. The man in the white suit angrily approached, delivering a decisive blow and shouted, I'm only offering $6 million. Don't force me to do something dirty. I've made my offer, not a penny less. Mr. Miao spat out blood and said, No, it can't be. The man in the white suit spoke again. What made you tell me before? Didn't you give me all the chrysanthemums? Why would someone want to outbid me for this? Are you playing me behind my back? Then we should end this game right here. Suddenly, a loud noise erupted. A kick sent the iron door flying several meters away. Wu Shen had also arrived, looking mysterious as he said loudly, "I advise you not to touch Chairman Miao." The gang members immediately rushed in angrily, shouting, "What? Who do you think you are to interfere in our business?" So the whole group charged in, intending to gang up on Wu Shen. One person lowered his center of gravity and rushed in, swinging a punch at thin air. Another quickly threw a punch, but Wu Shen simply dodged it with ease. Wu Shen then threw a light punch, and one guy was sent crashing headfirst into the wall. The witnesses watched in shock, their faces turning ghostly pale, almost peeing their pants. This is a monster. A person cannot possess such strange strength. Who is this guy? Wu Shen walked over to untie Chairman Miao, saying, "Chairman Miao, I will handle the matters of the cooperative. Please take a rest for now." Wu Shen then approached and said, "I have found out everything about you on my way here. Let's have a talk." The leader laughed and asked, "Talk to you? Do we have anything to discuss?" Wu Shen sat down, ready to demonstrate his capabilities. "You work hard yourself and own several factories under your name. Your net worth exceeds several tens of millions of dollars. Compared to ordinary people, you are quite successful." He was astonished and asked, "A normal person? What do you know?" Wu Shen continued, "Of course, you are not a normal person. I told you that I have learned everything about you, including your life experiences and the family you don't want to mention. You are a member of the Ding family, and your grandfather and Ding Duanlong's grandfather are related. In terms of family hierarchy, Ding Duanlong should call you uncle." Hearing this, his face suddenly widened in shock. Sweating, he replied, "How can you possibly know this?" At that moment, the old man from the Ding family began to tear his hair out as if he was about to go mad. Seeing this situation, Wu Shen was also a bit surprised. Are the people from the Ding family all this crazy? Thoughts raced through his mind, from the emotional scene of a mysterious man with some woman to being reprimanded and expelled from the family, and even to the present moment. He looked at Wu Shen speaking, but he could not hear a word. He only saw the movement of his lips. The scene of that day, when his parents were brutally killed, flashed in his mind. Yet a voice in his head echoed, it was only a love affair after all. He shouted loudly, "Shut up! Don't say anything more." Wu Shen said, "Right now, you are on the same path as your brother-in-law." He angrily pointed and said, "How can I be compared to that animal?" Simply because you don't understand that after more than 30 years of hard work, your assets have still not exceeded $100 million. At this rate, it will take many years to become a top entrepreneur. Wu Shen responded ominously, "Become a top entrepreneur so that your brother-in-law feels you are the only one worthy of that Ding character, and ultimately make him regret what happened back then. Is this the reason for Zhu Peng Cheng's death and Chairman Miao's forced sale of the cooperative at a low price?" The old man then asked, "Ha, it's about that old man with the surname Du again. He is a feng shui master, but who are you to get involved in this?" He lit a cigarette and spoke. "The Zhu family and I can say we have a bit of a connection. Their affairs I cannot just ignore. Ha, they ran into me, truly a blessing from their ancestors. The Zhu family was originally small and insignificant. It was I who took the techniques of the Zhu family abroad, where no one understood them, and opened renowned clinics in the country combined with traditional medicine and beauty care products. Every year I have helped them earn tens of billions of dollars. I am thinking of expanding further, adding 2 more product lines. So what if there's a bit of deception?" Wu Shen continued, "The Zhu family has a rule that descendants must inherit sage knowledge and certainly cannot engage in such acts with me that would tarnish their reputation." He said, "Ha ha ha, if you don't make money, then you're just someone with a problem in your head." He spoke up and asked, "So what about the Gold and Silkworm Cooperative?" He replied, "If I hadn't suggested the cooperative, how could they have achieved what they have today? But old man Biao betrayed me, refusing to grant me the priority purchasing rights at the last minute. Of course, he forced me to do something unethical. The outcome was clear. Mr. Miao spoke up. Mr. Wu wanted to buy gold and silkworm cocoons at a high price, and the villagers naturally preferred to cooperate with him. After all, raising gold and silkworms is not simple. Workers certainly want a better life." Wu Shen said, "Mr. Biao, I only need a small amount of goods, not the entire village." He replied, Yes, we haven't thought this through carefully." The other man continued, "See, this is the nature of people. We create opportunities, but they don't know how to appreciate them." Wu Shen smiled and responded, "Maybe Mr. Miao was a bit wrong in this matter, but your way of doing things is also a bit excessive. Calculating the breach of contract is fine, but you must also include the compensation for Zhu Peng Cheng's death." He replied, "With the power in your hands, you can say whatever you want." Wu Shen continued, "Even if you're doing this to take back the Ding family's estate or whatever, remember that I will definitely destroy the Ding family. You shouldn't keep thinking about that rotten clan, but focus on using your talents to forge your own path. After a while, Wu Shen took the old man Miao home. He spoke up. Thank you, Mr. Wu. We have been too greedy for money and ended up in this situation. It's truly shameful to say. He replied, it might not necessarily be a bad thing. If the cooperative fell into his hands, it wouldn't be peaceful either. He turned to ask, you are short on capital, right? Mr. Miao responded, previously, there were small households, everyone worked hard but earned very little, barely enough to feed themselves. Now that the cooperative has expanded, we have also rented some surrounding mountains, so we are in great need of capital. He said, all right, Mr. Miao, I will invest in your cooperative. Just let me have the best silkworm cocoons. Mr. Miao opened the car door to prepare to leave, saying, that's great. With Mr. Wu backing us, we just need to work hard. Wu Shen then called Yu Rong. Hello, Sister Rong. It's been a while since I heard your voice. Yu Rong on the other end replied, don't joke around. Come back quickly, you rascal. There's something important. After hanging up, he fell into deep thought. He was planning to visit the Zhu family, but it seemed that he had to put that aside. Half a day later, Wu Shen arrived to find Yu Rong. Sister Rong, I'm here. From inside, Yu Rong heard the voice of her spoiled boyfriend and ran out to hug him tightly. You're saying, my little husband, it's been so long since I saw you. I've missed you like crazy. Wu Shen replied, Sister Rong, you don't sound like yourself at all. Are we really? Wu Shen's hand began to fumble around, prompting Yu Rong to pull his hand away. She spoke up, stop it. Even though I'm the only one in your eyes, we have guests at home. Wu Shen then noticed someone speaking from behind. Ah, Miss King how have you recovered? Watching the affectionate scene between the two made King a little shy. She replied, you guys left me in Tokyo and didn't care at all. Now that you've met me, you can't even be bothered to pay attention. Wu Shen responded, how could that be? In fact, I didn't expect Miss King to come to Sister Rong's house. Hearing this sweet tone, King lightly hit his hand with her fan. Stop talking so much. Yu Rong excitedly said, if I could manage without you, I could hold on. But now that we've met, I can't hold back anymore. King if you don't mind then. King cheerfully replied, others don't care, but if the other party is Wu Shen, then I might give it a try. Seeing the two talking, Brother Wu looked confused and bewildered. He couldn't understand what they were so excited about. But it seemed Brother Wu was about to be worn out. A while later in the room, the sounds of passion rang out. Wu Shen was playing something very refreshing with two girls. Yu Rong enthusiastically called out, little brother-in-law, you're amazing. After a moment, it was Kinger's turn to taste, and she kept calling out Wu Shen's name. Yu Rong said, I miss you so much that I'm going crazy. I just want to stick to you forever. Kinger added, come on, hurry up, it's my turn. After about 2 hours of yoga exercises on the bed, Wu Shen had both girls in his arms. He said, Sister Rong, Kinger, what is it that made you call me back urgently? Yu Rong replied, after handling everything, the big project in Jiangdong has been organized by the Liu family. In the end, the four parties signed an agreement. But unfortunately, the prince in charge had once pursued me and was rejected. Now that he sees my name on the partner list, he has started causing trouble. Wu Shen said, that's really too much. Chinger interjected, he even made my husband over there suffer humiliation. Wu Shen, you have to help him. Kinger loved her husband, but was also attracted to him. Wu Shen tightly embraced the two girls and said, if I go there, I must prepare thoroughly. Yu Rong said, if necessary, I will go with you. Kinger added, I'm really looking forward to it. I wonder what tricks you will play this time. The scene shifts to 2 days later at the airport in the capital of Saudi Arabia, where wealthy individuals spend money freely. A Rolls Royce is waiting with a man inside. He speaks up, Mr. Wu, you finally made it. The final stage of the game development project has been a headache for me. Wu Shen replies, the development team is doing very well. The progress is quite advanced. A while later in the office, several late staff show clear signs of exhaustion from the demands placed on them by Wu Shen. A young man asks, boss, are there still many things that need fixing? Another one inquires, when will we finally get a break to go home? Wu Shen pats him on the shoulder encouragingly. Coming soon, there are just a few minor tasks left, such as adding new player guides, fixing hidden bugs, addressing the issue of invisible walls, adjusting the AI intelligence of the boss, and optimizing a frame rate and lighting issues. Upon hearing this, the young man, wide-eyed, responds, oh my goodness, is there still so much left? Will we even be able to last until the game launches? Maybe it would be better to just die early. Wu Shen assures him, don't worry, your hard work will be rewarded. The young man mutters, I won't let you guys suffer losses. Wu Shen immediately proved that he wasn't lying. He explained loudly, everything needs motivation. Hey, bring in the money. A suitcase full of cash was opened. This is $10 million in cash as a reward for the team that launches the game on time. If the performance is good, there will be additional rewards. Just hold on for another 10 days that everyone can enjoy a vacation and explore the beauty of ancient Babylon. There will be some girls with impressive figures at your service. Thinking of the bright future, every young man was excited and full of enthusiasm. The boss is so awesome. Don't say anymore, boss. I will sell my life for you. Ha 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 ha. Hot girls come here? The scene shifts to 10 days later. On the launch day of The Legend of Grey Enlightenment, the Arab man spoke. This is the first time I've been this nervous. Standing in front of the computer monitoring the data of Mr. Wu, this feeling is harder than dealing with the mafia. On the other side, and Meng Lan was also happy for her beloved husband as the theme song of the game was loved by the global gaming community. My Mr. Wu is really talented. On the side of the young man Peng Wai, on the first day the revenue on Steam exceeded 5 million copies. The PS reached 800,000 copies, while other domestic platforms achieved 500,000. An Arab man shouted loudly, "The revenue for one day is nearly $2 billion. This is just the beginning. Next month we'll maintain the hype, and the revenue will exceed your imagination." Wu Shen smiled faintly, thinking the game was a success. Well, that's settled. Now it's time to meet the Prince of Qatar. The scene shifts to the second day in Saudi Arabia. Seeing that Wu Shen had arrived, a man with a shaved head spoke up. "Mr. Wu, you finally made it. Has my wife informed you about the current situation?" Wu Shen, looking bright and cheerful, replied, "Qinger only briefly mentioned this issue, saying that you have encountered difficulties here. What is the situation, after all?" It must be because of doing yoga the previous night with King and Yurong that Wu Shen didn't have much time to discuss the matter. He happily shook hands, excitedly saying, "I don't consider you an outsider. All right, sit down here. Let's have tea while we talk." But he had no idea that Wu Shen was taking care of his wife like family back home. He recounted, "Over the past 2 years, we have mainly been building solar panel manufacturing plants and solar power stations in the desert. Everything is almost complete and ready to enter the trial operation phase. But unexpectedly, the prince ordered a halt, stating that it would take over half a month for inspections. There are many more rounds to go. I really find this too troublesome." Wu Shen said, "It's just that he found out one of the shareholders is the woman who once rejected him, so he's upset and deliberately creating difficulties. It's not a big deal." He asked in surprise, "Mr. Wu, so do you already have a plan?" Wu Shen replied, "Of course I do. These notables don't know what to do. Just let me teach them a lesson. Young master, can I borrow your little assistant for a day?" Hearing this, the girl on the other side was startled. He asked in confusion, "What? What does this have to do with my assistant?" The girl asked in confusion, "Oh, is it me?" The scene shifted as the camera panned, showing the beautiful girl riding a camel in the sandy desert. A loud shout, "Oh, door, open up." The girl then entered and transitioned to another dimension. In contrast to the heat of the desert, on a cool beach, the girl began a 30-second advertisement. From the desert to the ocean, an extraordinary experience. Comment and share this video to receive free entry tickets and a chance to win a $23,000 prize for a complete trip to Qatar. At this moment, the scene ended. All the previous shots were just a green screen. Wu Shen called to instruct, "I send you the video, Peng Wai. Find 50 popular influencers immediately for an in-depth experience. We'll create a stir in the country in 4 days." Peng Wai replied, "I understand, Mr. Wu." 2 days later, while drinking tea, Kinger's husband rushed in and shouted, "Mr. Wu, there have been 500,000 domestic tourists pouring into Qatar in the past few days, overwhelming their resources. Hotels and restaurants are on high alert. They have no experience hosting such a large number of guests in such a short time." Wu Shen slowly asked, "What happened next?" He continued, "In 3 days, they collected $4 billion from food and tourism services. Their 17th prince has invited us to a thank you banquet." Wu Shen smiled and said, "Then make sure to not get drunk tonight." He burst out laughing and replied, "Ha ha, of course not." The scene shifts to the thank you banquet of the 17th Prince of Qatar. He raised his glass and said, "Mr. Wu, the advertising campaign for your extraordinary 1001 Nights experience is truly creative and effective, exceeding all expectations. I also heard that the game Grey Mythology you released in the neighboring country has sold over 100 million copies in just 1 week, breaking global records." Wu Shen clinked glasses and replied, "Recently, we have only achieved a small success. Perhaps it is due to divine favor that we have such good luck." The 17th prince said, "I really like your saying, success lies in people. Achieving success once may be due to luck, but continuous success cannot rely solely on luck. Mr. Wu, this way please." As he was about to go somewhere, there was an annoyed voice from behind asking, Oh, isn't that the third young master? How did you sneak into the 17th prince's banquet like this? I told you do not meet until the inspection is complete. Why did you come all the way here? The 17th prince said, Fourth Imperial brother, this person and Mr. Wu are honored guests I invited. Upon hearing this, he was astonished and asked, Ah, you invited them. The 17th prince happily replied, Mr. Wu, let's not worry about my fourth Imperial brother. Let's go over there and continue our conversation. Prince 4, feeling annoyed, thought, this Lu person wants to restore operations but is looking for an energy manager like me. Why bother looking for a cultural manager? On the other side, the 17th prince spoke up. To be honest with Mr. Wu, in our small country, we only know how to sell energy. We live in worry every day. Wu Shen asked, you want to develop your own cultural industry? The 17th prince replied, I want to, of course I do. I think about it every day, but I don't know where to start. Wu Shen took out his phone and said, I have a plan. Please take a look. Looking at the screen, his face showed clear excitement and joy. The 17th prince praised, I didn't expect Mr. Wu to have such a brilliant idea. All right, I will leave this matter entirely to you. If it succeeds, I will do my best to assist you in everything. Thus, the two shook hands and began to cooperate. Mr. Wu said, however, if you want to expedite this plan, the budget might. The 17th prince interrupted, money is not a problem for me. The scene shifted to the morning of the next day. Xia Qinshi jumped up and said, Mr. Wu, is there anything I can do to help you? I haven't worked since graduation. Wu Shen saw this and immediately said, Qinshi Sing Sin is about to enter university. You can't keep focusing on her like this. It's unfair to yourself. Qinshi replied, as long as you don't find me slow, I'm willing to learn anything. Even if it means being your assistant, I'm okay with it. Seeing her willingness to work hard for him, Wu Shen affectionately hugged her and said, it might be a bit tough at first. Qinshi responded, with you by my side, I don't mind how hard it is. I just want to be of help to you. So Wu Shen helped her exercise in the morning to boost her motivation. He said, then I will give you more courage. That afternoon, he began to teach her. She had to remember the C numbers and how the director worked, as she would be in charge of this project later. Qinshi determinedly replied, understood, I got it. He patted her head and said, don't rush, take your time and you'll get used to it. Encouraged by him, Qinshi's face immediately turned rosy. At that moment, he received a call from his disciple Tang Sanbao. Hello, master. We have arrived. I'm sending a location. Let's all meet here. He quickly said, really, Sanbao? Sanbao added, if it weren't for family obligations, my uncle would have personally led his team over to help. Wu Shen laughed and said, okay. A while later, a group of people approached and greeted each other with handshakes. Sanbao said, Master, what project is it this time? This group of engineers are all key personnel, specially chosen by my uncle, and even better than the team that built the bridge in Nigeria. Wu Shen thought, he really understands me. This time it's the second project for the 17th prince, constructing a cultural and creative area to support the TV drama of a major platform in the United States. When the show launches and attracts massive viewership, this place will be where that enormous profit flows in. Therefore, the timeline is very tight and the scale of the project is much more complex than the Nigeria project. Wu Shen spoke up, Sanbao, look over there. That is the land granted to us by the prince for our use. We will build a 1001 Nights complex, rich in the romantic essence of Zhongdong, rivaling Disneyland. Hearing this, Sanbao exclaimed in astonishment, oh my gosh, 1001 Nights, master? Wu Shen, exuding the essence of the Zhongdong prince, appeared incredibly elegant, with an overwhelming aura of confidence clearly visible.